Welcome to Kidmissing TV. I am your host, Angelina Wilson. Just wanted to let you know that we have 2 more cases this month. I've got to write August. I don't know where the time got away from me. And I have a million updates for August, which I will be doing on Thursday. Then on Friday, I will be doing the preview once I have, a list of cases written out. So, today's case is the case of Robin Graham. She disappeared on November 15th, 1970. She was 18 years old. She was a first-year student at Pierce College, having graduated the year before. She disappeared from a Los Angeles freeway in the early hours after her car broke down. Oh. The California Highway Patrol had earlier noted her stranded beside her vehicle and had stopped several times and talked with her. They did not stop one final time when they observed her talking with a young man now believed to be her kidnapper. Their actions were consistent with their existing policy at the time. Their policy has been changed, thanks to this case, to ensure the safety of stranded female motorists. She had long brown hair, brown eyes, fair skin, and was 5 feet 6 inches in height. What did she say to them when they stopped? And why didn't they call for a tow? At least around here, cops don't want you on the side of the highway. They will call for a tow for you from their radios. It looked like the man tried to help her get her car started. The man in his mid-20s that stopped. He was driving a Corvette, either green or light blue, with some primer. It was a 1950s Corvette. She used a call box to talk to a CHP emergency operator. CHP stands for California Highway Patrol. In some states, instead of state troopers like we have, they have highway patrols, which is the same thing. State police. And she let her parents know she'd run out of gas, where she was, and the operator relayed the message to her sister, who told her parents when they got home at 2:30 in the morning, and they went immediately to where she was. They found her car, but she was not there. Interestingly, the first report said that she left voluntarily in the Corvette, but the highway patrolman was re-questioned and said he saw her in the presence of the man and that she had appeared to have gotten into the man's car willingly. Okay. The Los Angeles Times did an article, and a woman saw it, and she wrote a letter to Robin's parents and said that she too had been stopped, had been broken down and stopped by a man in a Corvette. Stopped, told her he was an off-duty police detective, and offered her a ride. The woman refused. It is not known if this man is the same person as the man last seen with Graham. And she was able to identify him later on because of the Manson family murders and stuff. I guess she saw a picture or saw him on TV, and she identified him as Manson family member Bruce McGregor Davis. He's not been charged. That was just who she identified. Okay. The Rampart Division of the Los Angeles Police Department, the LAPD, handled the case, and they thought her disappearance was linked to a number of other similar cases involving young women during the same time. The crimes involved female motorists throughout California who were attacked by an unidentified male perpetrator who targeted the drivers by offering help while they were vulnerable. None of the other cases have been solved, and some of the victims were found dead in the Hollywood Hills. And I'll tell you who the cases were. Rose Cashman, 19. Cherry Jo Bates, 18. Although she wasn't a stranded motorist. She was killed at the college, and they believe she was the Zodiac's victim, just so you know. Kathleen Johns, 22. Ernestine Torello, 43. That seems like an older person compared to the other ones. Mona Jean Gallegos, 22. There was an advertisement 17 years after her disappearance in the newspaper. It read, matter of fact, a disc jockey, Jeff Edwards, actually read it on air because it was so weird. Dearest Robin, you ran out of gas on the Hollywood freeway. A man in a Corvette pulled over to help. You've not been seen since. It's been 17 years, but it's always just yesterday. Still looking for you. Signed, the Echo Park Ducks. It turned out that this was written by a friend of hers named Al Medrano, um, and he simply wanted to express that she had not been forgotten. That's sweet, actually. So her car was at Pier 1 Imports where she worked, and she had taken off in her boyfriend's car. Now one officer is saying he offered her a ride earlier. Okay. They believe she fell victim to a serial killer. And often linked to her disappearance for some reason are Ted Bundy and the Zodiac. The Zodiac, maybe, although he didn't usually take his victims anywhere. But Ted Bundy was never in Los Angeles. He was never in California. Oh, Cindy Lee Mellon, 19, was another one. Christine Easton, 19, was another one on that list of victims. So, oh, excuse me. And interestingly, Bruce Davis of the Manson family is one of the suspects in the Zodiac case. They think they may have solved that now, though. It wasn't him. Um, and he didn't terrorize California in the late 70s. It was actually the late 60s and early 70s. But there is speculation also that Jeanette Kamahale was one of his victims as well. Kamahele. I think it's Hawaiian. Her parents died without ever knowing what happened to her. If you have any information in this case, you can call the Los Angeles Police Department, the LAPD, at 213 485 5381. That's 213 485 5381. I don't think it was the Zodiac because he didn't abduct his victims. Excuse me. He tended to kill them right where they were. I don't know about the Bruce Davis guy. Um, I know he was a Manson family member, uh, but that's really all I know. Excuse me. I did not know he was a potential suspect in the Zodiac case, and I thought I knew who all the suspects were. Not that I could name them, but if I heard the name, I would know he was a suspect. You know what I mean? There's 3 or 4 of them. The latest one, they're saying they have handwriting analysis and whatever else. That's so subjective, though. Excuse me. So it's hard to say. Um, Trying to think. So yeah, it's no, that was in Northern California. I was gonna say that Hillside Stranglers are a good option, but they're not. I understand why they thought Bundy because he tended to leave his victims in the mountains. And some these victims were found in the Hollywood Hills, which are mountains. But he was never noted to have been in California. I mean, if it was in Northern California, he lived in Oregon, he could have crossed the border easily, you know. But to cross the border, go all the way to LA and all the way back is like a 14-hour drive one way. So it's unlikely that it would have been him. He tended to stay in his little 3-state zone, Oregon, Washington, and Idaho, until he escaped and ended up in Florida. Oh, and Colorado. He was in Colorado. We know that. We know he had victims there. Um, but it's unlikely to be Bundy. Aside from the fact that it was in 1970 and Bundy was only 15 because he was born in 1945. No, I can't do math. Oh my goodness. Scratch that. He was 25. 45 to 55, 55 to 65. He was 25 in 70. My goodness, what was I thinking? Um, so, but he hadn't started killing as far as they knew until about 72. Maybe 71. There might have been a victim, but I think his earliest victims were in 72. And he killed from 72 to 74. He was arrested. He escaped. He went to Florida and killed again. Later in the 70s, around 76, 78, then he finally went to jail and got the death penalty. Florida wasn't letting him go until they put several 100,000 volts through him. So, um, so there's that. I am not a proponent of the death penalty, nor have I ever been. That being said, I was not sad when he was gone because he scared the bejeepers out of me. To say nothing of the fact that I looked just like his victims. uh, yeah. So, it's scary when you know that if you lived in a place at a certain time and were a certain age, you're the perfect victim for this monster. It's scary. That's why one thing he taught me is if I'm giving directions to someone or something, I stay out of arm's reach of their vehicle. Always. Even if I have to yell the directions. Out of arm's reach. Because nobody's pulling me in. You know what I mean? Um, so, fortunately, where I walk here, I'm not likely to be abducted because I'm in the middle of Main Street with 50 million businesses around me and 50 million cars and people. And yeah, so that's not likely to happen. Like I said, it's a little scary when you um how do I put it? When you know that. But it teaches you. Don't help someone who has a cast on their arm or leg because it might not be real, particularly a male. Because that's how he got a lot of his victims, or you would say he was a cop. You have to come to the station with me. Somebody tried to steal your car. No, no, no. So, so, um, so yeah, it's probably not him. It could be um, the Zodiac trying out a modus operandi before he actually started his killing spree in 73. Um, Actually, he started his killing. What am I thinking? He started his killing spree in 68, and it went until 74. The last letter was sent in 74. And then years later, in like 79, I think it was, he sent another letter. But no, he was 68 to 74. Um, so he wouldn't have changed his modus operandi at that point, and he wasn't in Los Angeles. He was in San Francisco, which is about, I think it's 4 hours between the two, if I'm not mistaken. Uh, 4 hour drive. So he's not going to drive 4 hours to abduct someone. He was way too careful for that. I wonder if they had processed the car, you know. Uh, she was driving her boyfriend's car. For whatever reason, she switched cars, and that's probably why she ran out of gas. She just didn't look at his gas gauge. And him being a typical man would have run close to empty and gotten gas after work. You know what I mean? Most of the men I have known in my life, run close to E. My father ran on a quarter of a tank constantly. My uncle believed E meant enough. So, yeah, it's a man thing. Um, Excuse me, that's probably why she ran out of gas. But the parents said they found her car, which is strange because it's said that her car was at Pier 1 Imports, where she worked, and that she, I assume, walked over, got her boyfriend's keys, and took his car to go out for the evening. Maybe his car was more reliable. I don't know, but some questions, you know? Did they go back to Pier 1 Imports and check out her car? I mean, excuse me. I don't know. Just questions. Thank you so much for joining me. God bless you. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I will see you Wednesday for our last video of the month, and I will see you Thursday for our updates for August. Bye, guys.